What up, everyone? This is Brenton.
And Jenna.
This podcast is all about connecting with our Autumn family in a fun and different kind of way.
So turn down that CB, buckle up, and enjoy the show. It's going to be truckin' awesome.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Autumn Transport Podcast. I'm here with Jenna again today. Jenna, what's going on?
Not much. I've been preparing for you to ask me about my weekend because you do that every time. And I feel like I just say, it was fine. And I'm like, I got to think of something better to say.
Well, my question, I think what people want to know is, how did the last soccer game go?
Oh, man, we lost real bad.
Real bad?
8-1 on Sunday. But I will say the field was horrible. It looked like we were in a third world country. Divots and...
Was the other team playing on a different field?
We were playing on the same field.
Okay,
so not saying that's why we lost, but it was really hard to run on it. And yeah, it was just not good. So yeah, we lost.
Gotcha. Did you get the goal?
No.
Any red cards?
Nope.
When my kids were playing basketball, I would always have a couple questions for them if I wasn't able to make a game. I would ask if their team won, and then I would say, did you have any points? And then I would say, did you get any technical fouls?
Mm-hmm.
And they would always say no. And then my last question would be, why not? So, Jenna, why no red cards? Were you just not being aggressive enough? Did you even get a yellow card?
Well, there was none. Nobody got any.
Oh.
It's friendly soccer, man.
It's the most exciting part of the game. There's like a crash, and then the guy falls down and pretends like he's just got shot by a bullet. And you're like, wait, it's soccer. Someone probably just blew on him.
Yeah.
Anything else fun this weekend?
Yeah, we were going to get a dog, and long story short, we got scammed on Facebook. So long story short, we got scammed. And
Shoot.
Yeah, so it was kind of a bummer. We were like all ready for her and got all this stuff, and then it turned out to be a fake profile, and then there's no dog. So
I'm sorry.
Kind of a weird thing you never thought would happen to you, and then it happened to me. So that's all I'll say.
Well, watch out for those Facebook dog scams, everybody listening. Well, I didn't do much. I went to a birthday party on Saturday, had a blast with my nieces and nephews. Mm-hmm. One of my nieces turned 4, so we were celebrating her. And a birthday party with the nieces and nephews for me consists primarily of eating probably too much food, and then regretting that even more because all the nieces and nephews just pile on me and constantly fight me. And so then I'm like super full and exhausted afterwards.
Yeah, but nice.
The heart is full too, as they say. So it was good. And then Sunday I just did yard work. So
fun.
Pretty chill.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about our guest today. It's Angela Castle is with us. She's been a friend of Autumn for a while, interestingly enough, because she is nowhere around Autumn's office. She's actually based in Kansas City. And Angela, why don't you, I don't want to guess at your title, so you can share what your title is, but why don't you tell us like who you are, where you're from, what you're into, stuff like that.
Well, thank you. I am actually really excited to get to be here. I think it was maybe 3 years ago when I just popped in here. I'm not even sure I asked for an invite or anything. I think I just came in and
No, you did.
dropped.
You did.
Did I? Okay, good.
The red carpet was out for you that day for sure.
Anyway, I was super excited to actually get to see this place. And I have to say, when you walk in the door, it is such a fun family feel. And to actually get to be here with you guys and visiting like this is fun. And I got to meet Jen, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, so are you asking what my title is, I guess?
Well, and just tell us who you are.
I'm not sure what my title is. No. So Angela
Facebook,
Castle.
I would say you're the Facebook karaoke music video star of the tank wash world.
Yikes. Anyway, yeah, definitely that is not the title. I think I do know my title now. Anyway, no, I currently run KAW Services out of Kansas City, Missouri, which we are a maintenance facility that does maintenance work and testing on tractors and tanks. And then we also have a tank cleaning facility where we clean the inside of the tankers going down the road, which this podcast probably knows all about. But a lot of people, when you try to explain that to them, you have to explain in a little further detail. Anyway, we also have our own ISO container depot and parts department. So that is that's the short story, I guess.
And what are you busy with when you're not running that company? What do you like to do for fun?
I love the outdoors. Like, I love being active. I enjoy, honestly, I enjoy walks, running, anything where I can go outside and get some energy out. So that's what I would say I enjoy doing. I love to read. So I have to be tired and then I can read. But
Are you originally from the Kansas City area?
I am. I born and raised in Kansas City. We moved out to Denver, Colorado, I guess in 2000, and we were out there for a couple years, but then moved back to Kansas City. So I've pretty much been there forever, and I like it. I mean, it's a good place to be. You know, you've got the Four Seasons, and they've really actually done quite a bit to downtown Kansas City now. We've got obviously we've got the Chiefs, and we probably don't want to talk about the Royals today, but they're putting together the new women's soccer field, and there's lots of fun things going on in Kansas City. So
No, the women's soccer team. Do you know? I'm watching this thing on Netflix right now called Quarterback. Have either of you heard of that?
Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. So
it is phenomenal. I've
Yeah.
even watched a little bit of it,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
well, and it's funny because it follows the 2022 season of Kirk Cousins, who's the Minnesota quarterback,
Amazing
and Patrick
guy.
Mahomes,
Yep.
Mhm.
the Kansas City quarterback. So
Yep.
we have that connection here. But I heard that them talking that Patrick Mahomes' wife actually is part owner of a women's soccer team.
I believe it's called the KC Current.
So
Does that sound
it is the
right?
Kansas City
Yeah.
team.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. They've definitely established some roots in Kansas City, it looks like. So, which is kind of fun. They're building a brand new stadium. It's a beautiful stadium right off of Front Street. Just, I guess, you know, if you're coming from KAW, it's just south of the Kitlon Bridge. So
Okay.
real close to us, probably 10 miles from KAW.
So on the north side of Kansas City.
Uh,
Is KAW's on the north side, correct?
KAW's on the north and that stadium's on the south side of the river. So, okay.
Yeah, I got down to Kansas City. I think that was 3 summers ago because I think it must have been right
That's
after
right,
you
yeah.
visited, and you and I had talked, and I said I was coming down with my kids. We drove down for a Father's Day weekend and checked out the city, and then you were able to give me some really awesome Royals tickets to watch the Red Sox, who are my
Perfect.
favorite baseball team. So
Mhm.
that was super fun.
That's where the Red Sox came in. That's your favorite baseball team.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm not going to enlighten everybody with my sports ignorance, but I knew there was something to do with you and the Red Sox,
Okay.
and it's not because the Red Sox are here.
No, we have the Minnesota Twins here.
Yes, we know that now.
And then the Boston Red Sox. I just started following them, honestly, almost 23 years ago, and have just cheered for them ever since. So whenever they come to Minnesota, I go and watch the games there. And that's my favorite part about the Twins is that the Red Sox come here to play them. So I get to see the Sox.
So, what are your guys' favorite activities outside of work? Is it baseball for you, or
I'm a lot like you. I'm just an outdoors person.
Yeah.
I like to camp. I like to hike. Over Memorial Day, I went to Colorado and was able to do a lot of hiking and actually climbed up Pikes Peak Mountain, which was amazing.
that would be amazing?
It was quite a journey, but a lot of fun.
How long did it take you?
I started from the parking lot and hiked 6 miles into what's called Bear Camp. And I stayed overnight there in a little backpacking tent. And then I left the next morning and went another 6.5 miles to the top. Total like walking time was probably about 13 hours.
That's incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Super fun.
That's neat.
Huge accomplishment.
Yeah. It's quite a story. We don't have time to get into it here, but it was quite a story. And you mentioned Denver. I love Denver. I love Colorado. I go out hunting out there every year, going out this September with my boy and one of my guy friends and his son. So we'll go out there and do some bear and mule deer and elk hunting. So looking forward to that.
Very fun.
But That's me. How about you, Jenna?
Like I said, so I play on a co-ed rec soccer team. So that's in the summers. I'm a runner too. I really enjoy running. And just being a mom, that's pretty much
you're
all I
full-time
do
right
now.
Yeah.
So
I'm impressed by the soccer. When you guys were telling that story, I wasn't sure if it was your 3-year-old or if it was you. Or
me.
That's
mid,
impressive.
baby. That's me. Yeah. Yep. Well, it hurts. So I'll say that.
That's good. It keeps you young.
Yeah.
You wake up a little more sore than you used to though when we're in high school.
Yeah.
I said I spent the day doing yard work on Sunday, and Monday my hamstrings were so tight.
Oh, I'm so there with you.
And I'm like, what is going on?
I have to stretch to go to yoga anymore.
Yes.
It's like the hamstrings do not play nice as you get older. I'm telling you, they don't.
When I first got connected, not necessarily with you, but with your company, we always called it KCTC.
Okay.
I think it was.
Yep. Kansas City Tank Cleaning.
Yes.
Yep.
And now it's just straight up KAW.
Right.
What does KAW stand for? KAW.
I believe it was named after the KAW River back in the day, is what I've been told. I could stand to be corrected, but KAW has definitely gone through an evolution of names.
Okay.
It started out as KAW Transport, right? And KAW Transport was actually founded by Fred Sedarth and Hazel Sedarth, and they started the business with just a couple tractors and hauled gasoline for the Standard Oil Company back in 1930, which is some time ago. So at that time, KAW Transport Company, and it remained KAW Transport Company up until I think it was 1998. They ended up selling KAW Transport Company to Liquid Transport Company, which is now a part of Dana Companies.
All right.
And when they sold KAW Transport, they kept the maintenance and the tank cleaning portion of the business. And I believe at that time it was given the name KTTR, which is KAW Tractor Trailer Repair.
Okay.
So when I came, well, KCTC was there too. So there was a bunch of confusion going on with lots of letters. And it was, gosh, I've been there, I think 11 years now. And it was a few years after I had gotten there that we asked if we could have the KAW Transport name back, and Liquid was fine with that. So that's, I think KTTR, KCTC, they sound like radio stations.
They really do.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, ooh, and I loved the history behind KAW and everybody that made KAW what it is today. So it was neat to be able to go back to that original name. So a little story behind the name.
Yeah, it's over 90 years in business, though, in one form or another to where you are today.
Yeah, that's a lot of thank yous to all those people before us, right?
Super.
Yeah. A lot of people did a lot of hard work to get it to where it is today.
So when you were a little girl and the other girls were playing with their dolls and doing their hair and painting their fingernails, were you kind of over on the side playing with tanker truck toys, or what got you into the interest and the passion you have for the trucking industry and into the position that you're at now leading KAW?
Yeah, I wish that was the story, because it would be a really good one, but I cannot be honest and tell you that's what happened. In fact, as a kid, I listened to the Origin of Autumn Transport's podcast with Julie and her mom. That was a great podcast, by the way. I absolutely loved it. But I believe you maybe asked Julie if she envisioned herself working at Autumn Transport. And she made me feel a lot better, I have to tell you, because she was like, no, absolutely not, and I have to admit, I felt exactly the same way. My dad would come home and, we really, he kind of left work at work. I mean, we didn't really have, I know in her conversation, she said it was like the third child at the dinner table. And I can't even really relate to that. The most excited I got about KAW was I did love the trucks. Like when I saw them going down the road, I recognized them and I thought that was really cool. But I really loved the supply closet at work because it had all the notebooks in it and the pads of paper and the pens. So I remember going up there and being a part of it in that way. But
Were your parents owners before you, or
so my
employees?
dad, we're fourth generation, family owned business, fourth generation. Fred Suddarth and Hazel Suddarth started it, like I said, in 1930, sorry. And then in the 1960s, my grandfather, Robert or Bob Hollick, took over. And at that time, they really diversified into the chemical hauling business. So they did petroleum, chemicals, and lube oils. And then in the 1990s, actually, I believe my father, Richard Hollick, took it over in 1983. And they really expanded. They expanded the fleet side of the operation, continued to grow that chemical side of the business and the petroleum side of the business. But then I guess it was, I want to say in 1998 when they sold, maybe they had close to 200 tractors and 300 tankers or something like that. So I'm trying to think where I'm going with this, Brenton. So I guess
So your dad owned
it at the time. So he was 1983, and then he passed away in 2011, I believe. So it was when he passed away in 2011. He was very pragmatic. He passed away from cancer. He was kind of told that he had approximately 18 months to live. And I think he ended up passing like at exactly that 18-month mark. But he was a phenomenal person. I look up to my dad so much. And he put a very strategic plan together for, how he wanted the business to go on. And I can honestly tell you I was not part of that plan. But I was at... I graduated from the University of Missouri in 1999 with a nursing degree. So I was a cardiology nurse at Liberty Hospital at the time. And the person that my dad had asked to kind of take over the president of the company his name was Mike Lacey. And Mike asked me to come over and join the business in 2012. So I came in very green.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, I guess, the four generations: Fred Suddarth, and then Bob Hollick, and then my dad, and now me. So
And now you.
Yeah, it's a long time, a lot of years in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And we were talking a little bit before too. So you never saw yourself, doing that, which is really cool that you are there now. But we were talking about a little bit before, unfortunately not recorded on the podcast. We always do that where we get such good content right before. But talking about being a woman in the trucking industry, right? And that's me, that's you. And we here at Autumn, as you know, our current CEO, Julie, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got you, girl.
Daughter of our founders. So, and then also I'm working on a project too where we were named Top Workplace for Women.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, with Women in Trucking. And so a contact that we have in a partnership with them, which has been a really fun project for me. So I guess where I'm going with this is talk about your experience as a woman in this industry and just different things you've noticed with that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had only a positive experience. I mean, I just feel like I have so much gratitude toward so many people in this industry, because having come in as a nurse, essentially, and knowing nothing about it. I mean, Ken White was a saint. He was the VP of operations. He was my dad's cousin and truly was, the heart and soul of the company for such a long time. And he, spent a lot of time, showing me the ropes and explaining how things worked. And then, I mean, just customers that would come through the door and how they treated you. I've truly only had incredibly positive experiences in the trucking industry. Dwight Wirtz with Wirtz Welding and Tank Service, just amazing guy. So many people have just rallied around me, I feel like, and just helped lift me up and educate me. And it really is, I like to call them, the salt of the earth people in trucking, and I don't know, I'm curious what your experience has been.
The same. Yeah. Yeah, very positive. Like I think back to, because I came from retail management. I was in retail for about 13 years and prior to this, and I really didn't know what to expect. And I had a few peers from retail tell me their experiences with the industry, and maybe had a friend in the industry already, and they don't like it, that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, and I really was going for the recruiting career path more than the industry, but then I found myself actually loving the industry kind of as I joined. So yeah, definitely all positive, really supportive all around, and there's so much to learn. So I'm only almost 2 years in. I'm not done learning. So
well, I've only known you for a very short period of time, and I can tell why people absolutely love you.
Oh, thank you.
So
You
much
too.
fun. You're a natural, and just fit in perfectly. So
it's a good fit. That's important, but it can be done. So
but lots of, I'm just really and truly grateful for the men in the trucking industry that have been so gracious. So
yeah.
It's a lot quieter when you're not here, Jenna.
Yeah.
I can relate. I get that.
Do you have any female employees working for KAW?
I do, actually. So Laura Gott, she's kind of over the office operations. She's amazing. I probably will sound annoying by the end of this podcast, but I truly have been just so blessed to be surrounded by such incredible people. And she's certainly one of them. And so she, I don't remember how long she's been there now, close to the same amount of time that I have been. But prior to, Laura came on when Judy Merriman was there, and Judy was, she did similarly to what Laura does now. She also did the bookkeeping, and she was definitely my dad's right hand person, and they were great friends. I still consider her just an amazing family friend. So Judy, was a huge portion or, a big integral part of KAW. My grandma Hazel in 1930, which I think is really cool because back then women were not common in the trucking industry at all. I would venture to say she might have been one of the only ones. So I think it's neat that it kind of started, with a woman. So Laura's there now, and then I've got Lily, and I've got my daughter Grace. So Lily is dating my son Austin, and she's there. And then I think Lily is going to be 21 on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. And then Grace is 18, and she's going to be going to college, just like your daughter is going to be going to college in the next few weeks. So
yeah, it's pretty wild thinking about my daughter going off to school. I'm moving her in on August 23rd, and I'm excited for her. But she went on a trip to Utah. Just got back from a week out in Utah. She was visiting some friends and babysitting for them. So they actually flew her out to babysit their kids for a week, and
nice.
Really kind of got all up in my feelings though, thinking about her being gone. And I was more excited for her to come home from that week than I've been not seeing her before.
Yeah.
And starting to realize man, Izzy's going to be gone. But thankfully, she's only going about an hour away to
That's
school.
what I was going to ask, is how far away it was.
Yeah,
it's still gone though.
Yeah, it's still gone, but I can go see her whenever I want. And yeah, I'm sure she won't complain if I drive up there and take her to dinner.
No, I can't imagine that she would, but it is a transition, isn't it? It's a weird feeling.
It was your daughter, where's she going to school?
She's going to K-State, so it's about 2 hours from where we are. Okay. So, and she's excited, but she's a little nervous too.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited for her. It's, you look back and those were some fun memories for sure.
Is that down in Wichita?
It's actually, it starts with oh my goodness.
I'm testing your geography here.
Yeah, no, it's in Kansas, a little tiny town in Kansas, and I cannot believe that I'm not able to think of the name of it. That will come to me in just a second. But it's 2 hours west of Kansas City, almost exactly.
Jenna, one of your new jobs in the podcast will be to be the Googler.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan has. He's got his guy that pulls things up on the screen.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm all over
Jamie.
That. All over.
You're going to be the auto transport Jamie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, she's excited. We're excited. It will be weird. It will be weird having her gone because we're like kind of two peas in a pod. We do everything together, everything. But I've got lots of things to do at work to keep me busy, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, circling back to work. I am the liquid tank division manager here. And so thinking about planning for routing through tank washes is something that takes up a lot of my time and my thought. A lot of my guys have to wash out in between every load. And there's a lot of things to consider when you're picking a tank wash. Not only where is it at and how en route is it to your next stop? Does that tank wash facility have the capabilities to perform the type of wash you need, whether it's a kosher wash, a caustic wash, maybe just a flush? Can that wash handle whatever product was in the tank previously? A lot of washes will have regulations about things that they can clean and that they can't due to city water regulations or equipment that they have, things like that, manpower. And then cost is something to think about when we're choosing a wash. Some are way more expensive than others. And also just like speed of service and um sort of looking for like a nice place for a driver to go.
Yeah,
'Cause
amenities.
amenities.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you're thinking about all those things, and KAW is sometimes we say KAW sometimes.
I like that. I like that.
Can't get away from the acronyms.
Yeah, we're good. We got
Radio
it.
to TV
It's
now.
okay. At least it spells CAW.
Yeah. KAW. I just feel like a bird all the time. And I'm like, go to KAW. So, but KAW is a place that we like to send our guys for their washouts for almost all the reasons that I just mentioned. You guys, you have great service, whether it's in the tank wash or in your repair facility. If I need something fixed on a trailer, if I need a good communication in terms of how soon the guy's going to be able to get washed out, can you wash a certain product? The response time that we get from KAW is always great. You'd be shocked. Maybe you wouldn't, but some of our listeners might be shocked at the fact that we'll call a business over and over again and no one ever picks up the phone. Or we'll send an email with a safety data sheet asking if they can handle that prior product and no one responds or doesn't respond for hours. And, for truck drivers, time is money. And so being able to get in touch with someone, get a response, get an answer, even if it's not the one we want, is so helpful. And we're grateful for what you guys do because you always do a great job of getting back to us and helping us solve the problems that we need. And amenities too. You have a great spot. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the things that KAW offers in terms of a repair facility and a tank wash?
Well, first of all, I just want to say a huge thank you. That was music to my ears. I really appreciated hearing all of that, and that is the goal. Exactly what you just described. We take a lot of pride in customer service and just making sure a driver has what they need and that they feel that they're being taken care of. I do think sometimes drivers aren't always treated the best, and that is crazy to me because at the end of the day, they're the ones deciding, oftentimes, which wash it is that they're going to go to or which repair facility they trust. So we really do try hard to accommodate to the drivers and make sure that they're getting what they need and that we're able to help them out just as much as we're able to help you out. In fact, Jack Mancini, is that right? Is he still with Autumn?
Yep, Jack's one of my guys.
Yeah, you guys have such a tremendous crew of drivers, and I think he brought his little puppy dog up there one day and got one of my favorite pictures out in front of our old Mack truck in the front of the facility. Anyway, it's fun to get to know the drivers and everything, but when you brought up answering the phone, those are things that we've really put a lot of focus on. And how do we make, Brenton, your life easier? How do we make the drivers' lives easier? Those are all things, we try to take into consideration. And at the same time, we want to make sure we're doing the right thing for the customer and the consumer, so if it is, something that's going to, jeopardize our core values, or if it's something that's going to potentially put us in a bad position or put the end consumer in a bad position, then we're more than willing to say no to those things as well. And having come from the medical world or the nursing world, however you want to put that, those things I place a lot of value on, doing the right thing, making sure that, especially with food, food grade, you guys don't do food grade, I don't believe. Is
We
that
do
right? Do
some,
you do
but
some food grade?
not a whole lot.
As far as food grade goes, there's a lot of requirements there to make sure that the end product is safe for the end user. And, I always tell the guys, I'm like, these are your children, your grandchildren, your mom, your dad, those are the people that you are preparing those tanks for, because, that's what's going to be potentially on your dinner table tonight. So
you guys won't just spray down the inside of the trailer and mark kosher on the ticket and send a guy on his way?
No, that would be a huge violation to do something like that. And I do take that stuff. I mean, I can joke around and I can have fun, but I take that stuff very seriously. Because it's important, and I've toured a lot of different tank washes, and there's some really good ones out there, and there's some that maybe aren't going to hold that value system. So we take a lot of pride in the fact that we do. Which, some of that unfortunately can carry over into cost, right? Of doing the right thing. But I would like to think maybe we've been incredibly blessed again with Danny Bannister. He actually came over to KAW, I don't know how many years ago now, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I'm horrible at timelines, you guys. Anyway, he is just fantastic and has just helped us so much grow our tank wash. And he had a lot of years of experience with Miller transporters and built, I think theirs were called, I can't think of it right now, but they were the Miller tank. It was the Miller wash centers that they had. I'm mind blanking again.
No, there's a couple that we use, Miller's in Richmond, Virginia, and over in Indianapolis,
Yeah.
Richmond, Indiana. There's a
Well, Miller, I believe Miller sold to Hennef. I don't know how many years ago that
just
was.
within the last couple.
Is that the last couple?
Yep.
So anyway, but Danny has just been so helpful, with our team and kind of, directing us and making sure that we are doing the right thing and getting an outside perspective from how we'd done it for many years prior. So, yeah, I guess did that answer your question?
Yeah. And that leads right into kind of my next thought. You talked about doing the right thing, integrity, values, and a lot of companies are going to have those values, right? It's really common to see companies that stand by 3 or 4 words, right? And so here at Autumn, we have integrity, service, leadership, and family. And those 4 things we always say we don't compromise on. That's you're going to feel that, like you said, you walk into the building, like that's what we live by. For KAW, it's safety over all else, act with integrity, communicate with candor, customer obsessed, and take pride in teamwork. Is that true? And what are your favorite things about those?
We stole
values?
those off your website.
No, we added one too. I think accept extreme ownership. That's another one we ended up adding to them. But yeah, I love the core values because it's a decision making tree for people, right? Like it gives everybody the ability to think about those core values if they're in a position to where they're not sure, what the right thing to do is. I often say, look at the core values, and safety is extremely important to me. Safety above all else. We talk about that all the time. They even, I ask them, there's at no point do you compromise safety, and even if the customer, who knows what the reasoning is, if safety is compromised, then the answer is a simple no, So the values are very important to us. And, you hear a value sometimes and and hearing that, it's always something to continue to talk about. But I would say in particular, like for sure, be customer obsessed. That's something that we try to think about every day. We do have a very, I don't know if you want to call it an elaborate safety program at KAW. We do a lot of safety training. In fact, we have I believe this week we have a confined space entry drill with the fire department. Actually, Wednesday we do. So we've kind of started doing those with our local fire department. And then I believe next month we're actually doing like a lights and sirens drill. So, we with having a tank cleaning operation and a shop, those can be high risk businesses,
Yeah.
or operations, if you will. So, I really want to make sure that our culture does not become complacent in that, and just that they go home the same way that they came to work that day. So,
You mentioned confined space. It's very dangerous getting down inside those tanks. Hot day like it is here in Minnesota today can make things even worse. And there's been multiple tragedies that I've seen, thankfully not experienced directly with our drivers, but we did have a driver who was waiting to get into a wash in another state, and a southern state, and it was summertime, very warm, and he came to find out that there was a long delay because the police were processing a scene where two tank wash employees unfortunately passed away
Yep.
from inhaling hazardous material inside of a tank in the extreme heat.
Yep.
And we had another experience where a driver was waiting again to get into a tank wash and actually saw an employee kind of stagger out and pass out right outside the door
Yeah.
after inhaling some fumes of what had been in a tank. And so that safety above all else that you're talking about, it's critical for the safety of your employees. And like you said, the dangers that happen in a shop and the injuries that can occur if someone's not paying attention or acting unsafely. And for you, it's kind of the same goal that we have, or that we think about with our guys. You talk about you want them to get home safely from where they came from. And we talk all the time about safety out on the roads as our guys are driving, and that they want to, as a driver, you want to get home safely to your family at the end of the week or the end of the 2 weeks that you've been out. And you want to be mindful of all those other drivers out on the road that they need to get safely to wherever they're going as well.
Yes.
And so whether you're at a tank wash or in a shop or driving a truck, keeping that safety hat on
Yeah.
and paying attention and not compromising or making decisions that would lead to unsafe behavior is absolutely critical.
Well, and in these temperatures, even just the heat alone, making sure that they're drinking enough water, that they have salt in the water or electrolytes, and those are things that, it's hot out there, and it's hot in Kansas City today, and I think I've already sent an email out, if I'm not mistaken. Make sure people drink water. It's just, I'm constantly thinking, I care about those. I care about all of them, and they do a good job, and they take it very seriously, which I appreciate. It's not a laughable matter.
Right.
So,
But you're not only just walking around your business with your OSHA hard hat on and a clipboard to make sure no one has any safety violations. From what I can tell, you guys have a ton of fun at work. Think about retention. Any business, retention is a critical part of the business. For us, Jenna, you do recruiting, but you don't want to constantly be recruiting new drivers either. I mean, there's job security in that for you, I suppose.
It's not a bad thing if I have, no, I'm just kidding.
But
No,
the goal
generally,
job
isn't,
security.
Yeah.
the goal isn't to be constantly recruiting because people keep quitting.
Correct. And that's, we don't really have that problem here.
What do you think Autumn does best in terms of retaining not only drivers, but office staff? What have you seen in your 2 years here that makes you
want to stay?
That makes you want to stay, or that Autumn does this well?
Well, firsthand experience, office staff is just culture. And I know it's easy for anyone to just say that about their own company. We've got great culture.
But we feel it. Like, I can feel it here. Yeah.
We do everything together, getting to know everyone in here. Everyone's just family, fun conversations. It's a little bit slower paced than I'm used to, but it's just, we all just have fun, and they care about you, and there's no dumb questions. You can ask and learn and develop. And yeah, it's, I don't know, just good culture in the office. Drivers,
And we
I
eat.
think
We eat.
lots of food. Sorry, that was in the back of my head and I
Amen to
didn't say it.
that. I'm right there with
Food,
you.
yes,
we
they
like to
feed
eat.
us.
Mhm.
They keep us nice and plump around
Yeah.
here.
I love the food.
With the drivers, I'd say, and maybe they'd say differently, but I know they have great relationships with their dispatch team. So that's a really great start. That relationship is very important. I've learned, and I think right off the bat, at least from a recruiting perspective, a little bit of a shout out to us, but we don't lie to them.
Yes.
There's a lot of cricket companies out there, and Mark and I do not lie. Like we
Mhm.
tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's starts them
Mhm.
off right. I mean, what would you say on the driver's end?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with everything that you're saying. And for us, retention is a lot about just knowing and being known. This actually comes from a church I used to attend, but knowing and being known, loving and being loved, right? So we know each other, we care about each other, we have fun together,
Yeah.
and fun with our drivers, even if they're not here in the building. I think they can feel that same care and concern and fun. One of the things we run into a lot at tank washes is not enough workers. Shops, trucks are down forever because there's not enough workers. They can't staff them, which gets back to that retention. That has to be in your mind, Angela. What are you guys doing at KAW to retain your employees and to find the good ones and to keep them there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think it's something that all businesses are struggling with right now, right? It's definitely been the hot topic for the last few years. Anytime, I know the National Tank Truck Carriers has spoken about workforce development and, what's the secret sauce, if you will. I don't even, I'm not sure it's that complicated. I think at the end of the day, you treat people well, you develop a trusting relationship with them, and hopefully, I always say, just come hang out if you want for a few days. That's like, just come in, even if you want to, I mean, I guess I can't say that to just anybody, but there are certain individuals that you just almost want them to be able to kind of get a feel for the environment, see if this is somewhere you can see yourself, in the shop, as a mechanic. Mechanics are hard to come by, mechanics with experience are even harder to come by. So, yeah, all of that, those are tough situations. And you certainly, when you do get somebody, you do not want to lose them. So I think it just goes back to how, I would like to think, again, I don't want to speak for them, but I think just treating them well and they enjoy one another. It's a fun, I think it's a fun environment for them to be with one another as well. Chris Bush is the manager currently over our shop. And I mean, they just have a tremendous amount of respect for him. And that's been really neat to see. I mean, they just genuinely seem to enjoy what they're doing. Some days are more enjoyable than others, probably, but we really do just have a great time. And the tank wash, I would definitely say the turnover is higher in the tank wash than it is in our shop. Our shop's pretty low, but tank wash, it's that one for sure can be challenging at times, so always looking for new ideas and suggestions, but I kind of like what you said about just treating people well, and the trust is a big part of it too,
Yeah.
I imagine it's a tough sell. I mean, I think often of tank washes and the employees, and it's easy sometimes to be frustrated
Yeah.
that they don't have employees and we can't get washed out,
Mhm.
or something doesn't get, the tank is washed, but they don't put a seal on, and we forgot to check, and now we get rejected and have to go back. But I'll tell my team, or I'll tell drivers, like, imagine you're trying to hire people who want to spend their entire day scraping lard out of the bottom of a trailer.
Mhm.
And lard isn't even the worst thing that we haul. There's a
Right.
lot worse things that
Yeah, it's a tough
they're
job.
asked. It is. It
It is
really
a
is
tough job. Yeah, and there's a lot of things to remember in tank cleaning. It's not just simply cleaning the inside of a tank. That is
Not if you want to do it right.
not if you do it right. There's a lot of regulations, and to your point, there's seals to be placed. There's a right and wrong way to do it.
There's
Paperwork is a big part of it.
drivers yelling at you to get it done quick because they got to get going on the road. And
Well, I mean, everybody, has there are, like, to your point, there's due times, right, for certain loads, so trying to incorporate due times into a very busy schedule, those all, can create challenges that they have, that they need to learn to navigate, I guess, if you will. So, I mean, I have a lot of respect for our mechanics and our tank cleaners. If I had to say which one had more turnover, it's definitely on the side of the tank cleaners. But we've got a great group right now, so I feel very happy about that.
How big is your tank wash facility?
We have 2 chemical bays, 2 food grade bays, and 1 dedicated dry bulk bay. And then we've got the steam pads where, we can heat tanks. And so
As part of that, did you do a recent expansion of that?
Well, we added a dedicated dry bulk bay a few years ago. And we redid our entire chemical side again, probably about that same time. It's probably been about 4 years ago now, which was very exciting because our system before that was very old. That's all I'm going to say. And, but then we actually just got to redo the chemical or the food grade side a couple years ago too. So we have been blessed with 2 brand new systems, which is actually, that's fun. And I do actually think that goes into helping employees and the ease of their jobs as well. Like
Definitely.
we have very good equipment, that does a good job of keeping them from having to go into most tanks. We really in tank wash do not get into tanks near as much as we used to, which is truthfully the goal, right? Like if
Yeah.
you can get it out without having to go in the tank, that's best for everyone. But yeah, we're very proud of our tank wash systems. And I do think that actually I didn't necessarily correlate that with employee happiness, but it definitely does play a part in it. If they're
Yeah.
constantly having to deal with equipment that's broken down or doesn't work correctly or is giving them fits, then that's also going to play into some negativity. So
Yeah, Jen and I
Yeah.
see that. I mean, I'm sure you get calls from drivers, and I hear from my drivers when their trucks broke down or
Yeah.
it's constantly giving them fits.
yeah,
Trucking's not as much fun anymore.
no, it's
Or even their technology. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you feel so bad for them too, because I mean they're
Yeah.
just trying to get from point A to point B, and sometimes just the world seems against you.
It does.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, and we'll see that, because they're coming in, they were supposed to, load yesterday and something's not working on their tractor. And I just empathize with them because none of us like our schedules to be, out of whack. Right.
It's one of the things that makes your facility so important is that you offer that service and the tank wash at the same place, and a nice spot for a guy to stay. Hours of service are huge for drivers. And so if they can get a tank wash or a repair done when they're off the clock,
Yeah.
that helps them out so much. And
Thank you.
a lot of facilities, like repair shops, that close at 2 p.m.
Yeah, I know. And that stuff just honestly frustrates me because, again, it's not what's best for the drivers, right? You're in transportation. Transportation's going 24/7 days a week. And we are open almost most hours of the day. There's a couple hours in the middle of the night that we're closed essentially, but that is 100% for the drivers and being able to hopefully mitigate some of those, troublesome times that they're having.
There's been many times where we've talked to a guy and said, well, I think we'll just go to KAW, get washed out, have them take a look at that when you're done getting washed out.
Yeah.
And come in the next day and find out that they fixed it last night or they're in the process of fixing it in the morning, and that driver's off on his way again.
And while they're there, they can go to the driver's lounge and get a #KAW dog.
Yeah.
Free hot dogs at KAW.
The
Sounds
KAW
like
dog
it's
actually works perfect. Like that name fits perfect.
Yeah, it does.
To
We're
grab
very
a KAW
proud of the
dog.
KAW dogs. You guys can make a field trip. Come.
I would actually love to see. We talk about a lot of things in trucking, and like tank washes is one of them, and I've never seen it, and I really don't know what goes on.
Oh,
So
you've got to come.
I would
You will
love
love it.
to.
It'll be
come
so
down
much
to
fun.
a Chiefs game.
Oh, we would
and-
have a blast.
Oh
It
my
would
gosh.
be
I've been
so
trying to
much fun.
drag Jenna on a trucking road trip.
Yes.
The road show trucking edition.
You've got to come see me.
Now,
I'll
now
give
that
you-
you guys
yeah.
like each other, maybe
Yeah.
that'll be the ticket to.
No, we will do it right for sure. And it would be neat though for you to see that side of it, right?
Yeah,
Because
I've
you're kind
never-
of over here on this side of it,
Mhm.
and I would love for you to get that
Yeah.
to have that experience.
I try to immerse myself as much as I can. I get up in the trucks
Right?
and I'm like looking, I'm like, what, I don't know. It kind of makes, I feel like I can do my job better, at least seeing that, and not that I've been on the road, but
Yeah, it's very
like
helpful, I think,
Yeah.
when you can actually say, "Oh, I understand that now. I
Right.
see that. I see what
the
the
bunk
difference is."
and all the whatever. So
yeah. No, you'll have to come watch a wash.
yeah.
Yeah, they would love to.
Okay.
And it's always fun to put faces with names,
Yeah.
you know.
So if you guys are so great. So Brenton has this question for me and I'm not going to read it. I have a different question.
Uh-oh.
If you guys are so awesome, what was it ever in the plans to expand? You're just in one location right now. Was that part of the plans that your dad passed on? Is that something that's ever in the talk? I mean, like,
Yeah,
how
So
awesome
that wasn't your question. That was my question.
did you?
So that's the question
I'm
under the name
just so
Brenton.
excited
Oh,
that you said
crap.
we're awesome.
Because when I
She's
wa-
stealing your content.
I didn't read that part. Yeah.
I wanted to ask along those lines how you're
He's taking it away from you.
how
He
you're
just see
He does that.
interference.
It's fine.
okay. Keeping in mind Jenna's question and expand on. It looks like there's certain companies out there that you and I, Angela, both know who they are that seem to be monopolizing the tank wash world, buying up any wash anywhere they can. I wouldn't be surprised if they've approached you to try to buy KAW. So back to Jenna's question. Do you have any plans for any expansion or anything like that?
I can't say that I have any today, but it's definitely something that, if we do it, it's going to be done really well. So, we have an incredible team put together right now. Our leadership team, with Danny Bannister and Joe Haggai and our managers, Junior and Mike and Jonathan and Chris and Desire. We have just such a great team that's, I listened to a podcast recently by Craig Rochelle, and, he really challenged your thought process about unreasonable leadership. If you're not being unreasonable, then you're not trying hard enough. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough, which I've thought a lot about that. And that's definitely something that I think about. And I would love someday to be able to say, guess what? We're going to open up another one in Iowa. That's one place that I've always kind of wanted to maybe have another tank wash, maybe a repair facility. You don't know. So no plans at the time, but maybe someday I can share some different news. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I wish that you had some facilities in other spots just because we don't get through Kansas City quite as often as we do some of the other cities, especially more east. And I wish there was more washes out there like yours. I wish
Thank
your
you.
wash was out there.
Thank you. Again, it's having been a nurse, you can imagine it's 100% just surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you and, know more than I do. And they've all been great teachers, and expanding that team would be a great time. I have to tell you though, every time I see an Autumn transport truck, I do get very excited. I have this like little dance thing that I do, and it's a for real thing, like I'll be in my office. It faces, I guess the side of it is you can see the trucks come by in the front or whatever. And if you only knew, like if you could only be a fly on the wall and see my expression sometimes when it's like the game of the day of who's coming in and who's leaving. But I did see one there last week and I got very, very excited. So
Well,
In
all
fact,
you
I
Autumn
thought-
guys listening, make sure that when you go to KAW, you're on your best behavior because we have
Yes.
a good positive rep going there with the boss.
Yeah,
So,
no, and you got to come get a free hat, and yeah, no, I'll take good care of you. You got to come see me in my office.
get that KAW dog.
Yeah, hashtag KAW dog. Anyway, but I did see one on the road today too, and I got really excited. I always wave to them. They don't usually respond always, but which is probably good. 10 and 2 on the road.
Yep.
But I'm waving. I'm like, hey.
It is kind of a fun thing to see. I mean, even working here,
Right?
I have seen, I think, twice, an Autumn truck and trailer on the highway, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, you get like excited.
No, you do get excited. I get very excited.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got that's very much a part of what we all like to do there is, I'll get an email that says, hey, I saw such and such truck on the road today. I haven't heard of them before.
Mhm.
That to me is the best way to get leads, right? Is just driving on the highway.
Yeah.
So my daughter, she'll send me a list of trucks that she hasn't heard of before. Laura sent me one the other day, but it is, who would have thought we would ever get so excited about seeing, trucks and tankers on the road? And that kind of goes back to your original question, of like, as a little kid, did you ever think, were you passionate about trucks and tankers and I can't say that I was, but I definitely have a passion for people, and it's definitely it's been really fun to kind of attach that to the trucking industry and where it's going, and it's just good people, right?
Yeah,
they're just good people.
Mhm.
So
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say that I'm a trucker's kid. I don't know if I
I
mentioned that
heard
before.
that. Yes,
You definitely heard that because he
Yes.
says it in
Every podcast, it's kind of like the Where's Waldo of our podcast. When is Brenton going to bring this up?
So, and he drove for Autumn Transport, right?
He did.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep. For about 5 years before he semi-retired and I guess stopped driving truck full time.
Okay.
But I did not grow up thinking I would be in the trucking industry either. Even
Okay.
though I would be in the shop with him as he was fixing the truck or holding one wrench while he was doing something
Mhm.
else. I went off to college and actually worked in church ministry for a while and
Very
then
cool.
found my way to retail management, same as Jenna. Both worked for Target.
Yep.
And then I came here. It's been almost 10 years now, but I didn't see that coming. And
That's
I've
awesome.
found that same passion that you're
Mhm.
expressing here about working with drivers and
Hmm.
learning about the trucking industry. And I'll never be a mechanic. I tell every new driver that the only mechanical things I'm good with are mechanical pencils.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it is.
Amen to that. I will never be a mechanic either.
But I can appreciate them.
100%.
There's one thing that you seem to be pretty good at, Angela, in terms of your business. There's another question, Jenna, that actually does have your name above it.
All right, here we go. And this is a good wrap up one. I think I did something good with this order here. But
Okay.
anyways, so Brenton and I here do a lot with our social media. We do, fun posts and it's ongoing to think of ideas for that. But you guys have awesome posts too and some really cool videos and content that I've seen. So what role does the social media play then for you guys? And do you see results from that or do you track that or what's the idea behind
Well, Jenna,
what you
you're
guys-
not going to believe this, but who do you think inspired me to do social media?
It's okay. You can use his name, Angela.
was it
It actually was Brenton. It's a true story. So I came in here
No
in
way.
role reversal. I was sitting over there. They
Okay.
were sitting over here. And I think I complimented you,
did,
on your Facebook post because I'm truthfully not great at social media still. So, but I was like, wow, that's just so cool, and I loved, again, company culture. I loved how Autumn recognized drivers and birthdays and events and it just looked like they were having a great old time. And I was super impressed I really feel like you were cutting edge on that, right? That was really before anybody else. It was a very different thing for me to see that. So I'm going to say you were cutting edge. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That is-
It's the truth. I
Mhm.
actually, and he was like explaining to me that you can schedule posts, which I still haven't done.
yeah.
Maybe next week I'll start that habit. But anyway, it was that inspiration from Brenton that, took me back and I thought, okay, what can we possibly do, with this marketing? And so I actually connected with the gentleman that does our marketing, Derek Chapman with Archer Video, and I can't say enough amazing things about him. He truly is like the genius behind the videos and the content. As far as we actually just taped two of our mechanics, Dave Wood and Alex Dunwoody. They race dirt track. They do dirt track racing or whatever, and so. We had so much fun. It was Derek's wife, Rebecca, and myself, and then my daughter, Grace, and their 2 daughters and brand new baby, Otto, went to the dirt track races. And we got to watch the boys. And let me tell you, I was so nervous, you guys, like watching them go around those dirt, I guess the dirt track. Yeah. And they go really fast and they swing out like they're going to, anyway, it was so much fun. But, so yeah, Derek, it was cute because I told him, I said, yeah, the boys are actually racing, and they're in the same race. Like they're racing each other. Yeah. We joke about like the KAW sponsorship, like who's going to get the KAW sponsorship, Anyway, but it was, we just had so much fun, and he got so excited about actually getting to, film a dirt track racing video. Sure. So I can't take any credit for the content as far as the videos are concerned or anything like that. Derek really gets all of the credit for that, but I think it really has helped us. It's a fun morale booster sometimes too. I love how I love to be able to feature our team, because, quite frankly, I'm such a small part of it, and I think it's a really neat way for our customers to be able to get to know our different team members and, maybe some personal things about them, obviously activities outside of work, dirt track racing. So I'd like to continue to maybe focus more on just getting to know them as individuals and again, their areas of expertise at KAW, and what it is that they're good at. And, so then when Brenton has a problem, he knows, who Junior and Mike are in the tank wash. He has some familiarity there instead of, like you said, calling a 1-800 number and having to go through a bunch of prompts. Like it's just easier to know people. It's easier when you have a problem. It's easier, if you need help finding a solution to something. So I feel like it has been very positive in just, trying to connect with people, especially when a lot of your customers like Autumn, they're not necessarily right across the street. We have a lot of customers that are across the country that we don't get to be right out in front of all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, what do you guys think about, like, what's your take on it as far as the social media aspect goes?
It's huge business-wise. I mean, and I've just started digging into the return on investment and the analytics side of it too. And it's like, what are you doing it for if you're not like seeing what it's bringing you? It's positive, right, and it will bring results or whatever. But it's really cool to see kind of what you get back from that, and to get creative with, like, we plan things, right? Like he said, you can plan posts to be strategic when your users are on there and looking, and so that's kind of a strategy too. And then just using different platforms. And I've recently got into the Photoshop, and I'll like kind of spruce up truck pictures a little bit, just, blue skies, and kind of take the oil out of the driveway.
Me with that.
It's so fun. And it's really endless what you can do. So It's good that you started, and that's like all you can really do, and just build off of that.
So I have a question for you guys. If Autumn, I was thinking about this, like if Autumn Transport had limitless, okay, like no cap on resources whatsoever, what is it that you'd want to do tomorrow?
Well, we already started a podcast, so no, I'm just kidding.
Narrow down your question. Autumn Transport in what capacity?
Okay, well, like maybe from a business perspective, and then maybe socially, what would Autumn Transport want to do?
You answer the business part because you've been here for so long.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of a hard question, isn't it?
It's difficult. Yeah. I mean, there are, to tie back to the question that you asked Jenna about what we do with our social media, I really think along the lines of some of the unmeasurables. Jenna kind of hit on some of the measurables, but the unmeasurables in terms of giving our drivers a place to feel recognized beyond just the phone call, hey, good job getting the load delivered. We hear a lot about drivers or what we can see, well, if we highlight them in a post, they'll share that with their friends and family who maybe aren't connected to Autumn, but it gives them something to share and to feel some happiness in and some pride and some success of being recognized and being thanked.
Yep.
And even something like this podcast, it's crazy how wide reaching it is that Jenna I never expected. I mean,
Yeah.
I set out in January with this idea of, hey, can we start a podcast to talk about our drivers, talk about the industry? I drive 40 miles to work one way every day.
Okay.
And so I listen to a podcast pretty much the whole time. And I thought, our drivers are driving hundreds of miles a day.
Yeah.
How great would it be to give them a little Autumn content, to learn about their fellow drivers, to learn about our company, to learn about people like you in the industry. And I'll hear from other people who will tell me that their friends and family that have listened to our podcast, not connected to trucking at all. You would never expect it. And then
Yeah.
they'll say, oh, so-and-so told me that they listened to that one podcast with the sheriff officer and or the state trooper, and they learned a lot.
Yeah.
Or my son will text me and say, Dad, I listened to that podcast. I didn't know XYZ or about this. And so I would love, if I had unlimited resources from that perspective, to just be able to continue to expand
Yeah.
what
The
we're
platform.
doing, what we're doing here. I'd love to add video, and I would really like to have someone like you said his name is Derek.
Yeah. Yeah.
To produce videos for us, because
Mhm.
that's an area Jen and I are kind of learning all these skills on the fly. Like she said, she's learning Photoshop. I'm learning audio recording, but I don't have that video piece yet. We just shot. Jenna's brother has a drone, and he came to the office and shot some drone footage for us.
Very cool.
That when we're done, I'll give you a sneak peek.
Yeah.
We're going to be launching a new website.
That's awesome.
And Jen and I have been working on that, and to have more time, money, resources pumping into that, I would really love. Now, I do want to say, because Julie does listen to these podcasts, she has been very generous.
This is amazing. I'm so impressed. Like,
Yeah.
it looks professional for sure.
Thank you.
So,
To
I
be
mean,
supports the dream.
as supportive
yeah.
as Julie has been, and I think that's the really cool thing about Autumn.
Yeah.
Is just, if you want to lead a project and you're passionate about it, the company will support you. If each of the division managers wants to chase down some new business, or maybe pitch the dream to buy a different kind of trailer because they think that, hey, we can expand in this area. This is a company that supports its employees and their passions and their dreams. And hopefully that the drivers feel that, and that gets channeled down to the drivers, and that they feel taken care of, and that we're supporting them to pursue their dreams. I can't speak fully for the business. I know in liquid tanks, we've had a goal to get to that 50 tanker number.
Very cool.
And have the number of drivers and the amount of business to support that. So that's something that we're pursuing right now.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
It's a great place to work. I love working here.
I love it here. What do you think?
Yeah, Jenna, let it rip. Let all that passion right out.
I think, well, like Brenton said, expand business. I think we'd probably just, if we had unlimited resources, you'd probably just buy a bunch of trailers and we'd expand and just grow. I mean, as
our
a
own
recruiter,
shop. I think our own shop would be
more terminals throughout the country. I get that question all the time. Are you guys just in Woodbury? Do I have to come there for everything? No,
Right.
Just to be like a, I don't know.
It's hard. I mean, because it does take, it's fun to think about, but I mean.
We have a phenomenal partnership with a shop in Hazel Green, Wisconsin. Windy Hill Trailer Repair has kind of been the Autumn shop for, 20 years at least.
Yeah.
I don't know when they initially started that.
Mhm.
That makes a big difference, doesn't it?
It's been huge.
Yeah.
We'll drop trailers there. They prioritize our service. I mean, they really are our shop in quotes, but to have a little bit more of that, maybe around here or in another location as well. Maybe we have an Autumn shop coming in Kansas City, Angela. What do you think about that?
No, I think we'll help you out. In
That's
Kansas
what I
City.
mean. That's what I mean. I'm saying KAW is our Autumn shop in Kansas City. We're not opening one there.
Yes, please.
No.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we would love. You guys could terminal, you could just set up shop there.
Yeah.
Have another location,
That's super exciting.
right?
Well, thank you. Did you drive or fly?
I flew this
You
time.
flew up here.
I
I felt like it was a little bit of a wild ask because I was thinking about guests and people that I'd love to have on the podcast. And you came up right away like, oh, Angela would be super fun. I wonder if there's any way because you can do these things on Zoom and on the computer.
Yeah, they're not
but
near as fun that way.
No,
Yeah.
it's awesome to have you here in person. And you sent me to a Red Sox game, so I'm going to take you to a Twins game.
I know. I'm excited. I'm
And
looking
so
forward to it.
We're going to go sweat in the sun
I
and
know.
watch the Twins tonight.
I mean, you sure you don't want to come?
We'll see.
You can't get a KAW dog, but Minnesota has the Dome dog from back when we had the Metrodome.
There you
I don't
go.
know.
Oh, yeah.
It might be called the Twins dog now, but it used to be the Dome dog in the Metrodome. So
Oh
that
my
was-
goodness, that's
Mhm.
great.
That was always fun. But yeah,
No,
I'm
we're
looking forward to that.
it. Mhm.
Thank you so much for coming up here. Thank you so much for KAW and what you guys do and the way that you guys have been partners for Autumn. Every time we come through there, we're just really thankful for that. And just appreciate you coming up.
Thank you so much, you guys. I had a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Thanks for thinking of me. This is a great place.
Thanks everybody for listening today to the Autumn Transport podcast. We hope that it was entertaining for you and that you learned a little something along the way. We'd be grateful if you would share this podcast and episode with your friends, family, and anyone else that might be interested. Follow along with us on social media at Autumn Transport on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks everybody for listening again. Drive safe and have a great day.